Have you ever heard of the greatest escape story in history? Forget Hollywood. This is real, and it's in the book of Exodus. Imagine this: 2 to 3 million people walking out of one of the most fortified countries of the ancient world, Egypt. They weren't just sneaking away, they were escaping under God's mighty hand. The Israelites weren't heading into a cozy resort either. They faced the scorching wilderness. Survival for such a massive group wasn't just unlikely, it was impossible by human standards. Think about it. They needed over 100,000 tons of food and 2 million gallons of water every day for 40 years. But here's the miracle. God provided food from heaven, manna, and water from a rock. Not to mention, their shoes never wore out. Think about it, if you drive through that same desert today, you better pack a lot of spare tires. Sharp rocks could cut through even the best rubber. Here, we're talking about events from around 3,500 years ago. Now imagine the sandals the Israelites wore. They weren't wealthy enough to afford fine leather. These were slaves with shoes likely made of straw, yet for 40 years those shoes held up. That's nothing short of amazing. Even in 1973, during the Arab-Israeli War, logistical challenges significantly impacted the Egyptian army in the same desert. Even for a few days, it was difficult for soldiers to survive with limited resources. Now, imagine the Israelites surviving in the desert for 40 years, 3,500 years ago. Their journey is an incredible testament to divine provision, a true miracle. The book of Exodus was written by Moses, one of the 5 books of the Torah. It's divided into 2 parts. The first is a dramatic narration of events of what God did to deliver his people, and it focuses on God's grace. The second outlines the law God gave to his people, a call for them to respond to his grace with obedience and gratitude. And Moses? He wasn't just a random guy. He grew up in Pharaoh's palace, educated like royalty. He was perfectly equipped to write this account as an eyewitness. But more importantly, Moses was the man who talked to God face to face and performed incredible miracles. After Abraham, he is the most revered man in Israel's history. So, when you think about Exodus, don't just see it as an ancient story. It's a powerful testament to God's grace, provision, and faithfulness. Just as God guided and watched over the Israelites through their journey in the wilderness into the Promised Land, he offers to lead us today. And that ultimate provision is found in Jesus. Trust him. He is the one who can guide you through the wilderness of life into the promises of God's kingdom.